video is gonna explain on why I love him, why I adore Jesus, why these girls so in love with Jesus type of beat. Well, I'm gonna explain that, okay? And I'm gonna do that all while doing my makeup. I already did my cameras. I already did my eyebrows off camera because I had to concentrate. But let's talk about a little bit of my history so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. I grew up Catholic. That's how I knew like a little bit about the Bible stories and all that stuff. But we were very passive. We were very passive with our faith. We would barely go to church. Years would go by and we don't go to church and all that stuff. We got baptized. Well, I got baptized. My two older sisters got baptized at a Mormon church. So then we were Mormon for a little bit. Eventually, all my entire family went their separate ways and we just started believing in anything, basically. Not all my sisters are saved yet. They will be, though. We just gotta pray. I will share what I believed in. Basically, I was so blinded because I was such, like, when I tell you I was of this world, I was of this world. I was not in that new age stuff with the crystals, manifestation, witchcraft. Just lost. If you do those things, you're lost. You're confused and you're believing a lie, because I was in your shoes and I was believing a lie, believing a lie, manifesting a lie, in a lie. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. I'm gonna just be completely honest with you, because that's how God set me free, through honesty, truth, and love. I was like questioning my purpose in life and all that stuff, because the new age stuff was not permanent. I always felt like a void in my heart, and I could never fill that void. That void was like always there. Like, it didn't matter how much I manifested, it didn't matter how much money I had, it didn't matter how I dressed, what color my hair was, how I did my makeup. I was still very sad. I was on a mission. I was like, I need to have like a strong belief system. I want to know, a lot of people, like, I know I believe in the universe and stuff like that, but who's the universe? What's their name? I was looking up religions, and the one religion I did not look up was Christianity, because at first I already had like an idea about like Christians and stuff, and I just did not like it. I was like, no, they're judgmental. I still want to dress like this, speak like this, listen to this. I don't want to be put in a box and not be able to venture out and all that stuff. What I had installed in my head, all these lies. You see how the enemy works? Girl, when I looked up other religions, it was just not making sense. I was looking up into Buddhism, Islam, and all that stuff, and it just, like, for me, I don't know, I was kind of just frustrated. I was like, this stuff doesn't really make sense. I was like, okay, I really can't find anything to believe in. Like, what's going on? And then I was literally at my wit's end. I'm talking about. And so I literally was so sick and tired, because I'm like, nothing fills the void. I had money at some point. I had men. I had drugs. I had all of this that never filled the void that I had in my heart. When we were younger, my mom used to make us read the Bible in Spanish. And so I prayed. I was like, I'm gonna pray to that God. I didn't even say Jesus. I said, I'm gonna pray to that God from that Bible that I was reading when I was younger. I got on my knees and prayed. I said, God, if you're real, show me that you're real, because I'm at the end. And at that moment, something not only touched me physically, but it touched me spiritually. Something that nothing from whatever I used to do from the past could compare. And what I mean physically is I felt a warm hug, like around me. Spiritually, meaning I felt a type of love that I have never felt in my life. Never, ever. This love was different. This love felt permanent, secured. And in that moment, like, it changed everything for me, because God answered me. Someone who did not want to, someone who did not want to believe at first, but then ended up believing because I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't, live a life with a void in my heart. I have some questions here that I wrote down for myself to answer, because I think these are questions that people who have not yet felt that love or don't understand why I love him so much would ask. How did I know what to do? So how did you know what to do after you had an encounter with Jesus? When I had an encounter with Jesus, I knew that I had to get a Bible. Did I do that at first? No. I started listening to the Bible through Spotify. And then eventually I was like, okay, I have to annotate, because I'm that type of person who loves to annotate. I went to Barnes and Nobles, got a Bible. And this is when I found out about versions. There's different translations of the Bible, okay? So I got the King James Version. King James Version is like back then type of language. And so I was like, no. I'm gonna need something a little simple. So I went back, returned the Bible, and got an NIV version. New International Version. From there, I started reading the Bible. I was like, okay. But for me, how my brain worked at the time was I have to do something from start to end. Meaning I can't flip pages, can't go in the middle of the book, can't go at the end of the book. I was like, no, I want to read it from the beginning to end so I can understand everything. And so I was like, okay. So I started from Genesis, Old Testament, and in Genesis chapter 4, you will see the section where Cain and Abel are giving an offering to the Lord, and he receives Abel's sacrifice, but Cain's offering was not favored. If you look at the context of it, is Abel sacrificed the fat of his firstborn, and Cain just picked up some fruit and put it in a basket and was like, there you go. Something that stood out to me with what God told Cain was, if you do what's good, that's good. But if you do what's bad, sin is out the door desiring you. The Lord is not looking for an offering like a dumb sacrifice, like a little, I'm gonna spend 20 minutes a day reading the Bible, that's enough. No. I looked at it in a deeper way. I was like, his first fruits is what Abel gave to God. It wasn't because he likes carnitas, or it's not because God loves carnitas and all that stuff. No. I was like, okay, so I have to sacrifice. Let me go get a chicken real quick. No, I'm just kidding. Instead of starting my day with my phone, I will start my day with prayer. I will end my day with prayer. And then I throw away all my new age stuff. I throw away my crystals, my books, all of that witchcraft stuff. Ugh. disgusting. I started censoring everything I listened to and watched. Some people are like, well, it's so hard. It's like, it's because you need that revelation of the scripture to understand the importance of why you have to sacrifice those things, why you can't live the same way you used to live. Because if you want change, how you want change if you're still the same person? How does that make sense? Let's move on to the second question, which I'm pretty sure some of you guys may have. Was it challenging in the beginning? Was it challenging? Yes, ma'am, ham. It was challenging. My flesh was definitely there. I was going through a lot of spiritual warfare, so it was not easy. And the reason why it wasn't easy was because I didn't have community. My family did not share the same belief as I had, you know, and then I didn't have a church, and I was still clinging on to some things that I would not let go, that I knew I had to let go of, but I was being rebellious. All the friends that I had at the time, I had to cut them off. I didn't want to hang out with them anymore because all they did was like party, do drugs, and I knew like that's not my life anymore. So I had to cut them off, and so it was very, I wouldn't say it was a sad time for me, because I actually love spending time alone with God. Like, it was literally every day, he and I, like, I would read for hours and hours in my room. I wouldn't even eat sometimes. Like, I was just so into it, because I just felt so much love. I felt so much security. I'm not gonna cry because I'm doing my makeup, but I want to cry right now. You can't live your life in your home without a community and just watching sermons on TV. I watched mainly two people when I was just watching, like, binge watching sermons all the time, because I wasn't congregated in a church yet. I would watch G. Craig Lewis and Mari Emanuel. And those are men that have a lot of wisdom. Yes, but I couldn't get mentorship from them. I couldn't get, like, you know, the answers that I have answered by them, because it's, at the end of the day, it's a screen and I'm just watching videos. You cannot live your life on sermons, on podcasts. Like, I'm not saying those things are bad. No, obviously I learned a lot of things from Mari Emanuel and G. Craig Lewis. You need to learn how to be consistent in a church. And here's why. Having friendships, having relationships, like, those are important, you know, because if you live a life of loneliness, you're not multiplying what the Lord has given you. Literally, it did not take long for the Lord to answer me, because I had an old friend from literally middle school reach out to me, and he's Christian, and he was like, he saw like one of my Instagram highlights had a cross on it, and that I was talking about Jesus and all that stuff, and then he DM'd me and was like, oh my gosh, you're saved, da 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 da. I was like, yes, I'm saved, da da da, this and that. And it was kind of awkward at first, because the last time he and I spoke, it was not good, because he said some things that I did not like. Like I told you, like, I was a worldly person, so when he was talking about like, oh, this is a sin, this and stuff on his social media, I was like really going against him. I was like, who are you to judge, this and that? And so I ended up blocking him, I think. And the reason why he got to message me, because it was a new Instagram account, it wasn't my old one. So yeah, it was kind of awkward. Not on his end. Like, he was actually very jolly. I was very like, oh. He was very sweet. And then he invited me to a church event. And from there on, like, he and I, when I tell you, we became inseparable. We were inseparable. We would hang out a lot, and it was not anything like romantic. Like, yes, he's a guy, but we were literally just friends, and he introduced me to some of his friends, and he would do Bible studies, I believe every Thursday over his place, and I would go over his place to join those Bible studies. It was nice to finally have like a community, and also like have a church finally. And then I met his family, and it was just so nice. But obviously not everything was nice and dandy, because your girl would still not let go of things that the Lord told her to let go. I was in a very toxic relationship, and on top of that, like, it was leading me to sin. And so I ghosted my friend, and I stopped talking to him and everything like that. And it was pretty sad, because he was actually helping me a lot at the time. Not only him, but his mom too. And then finally something happened that basically I finally let go of that relationship. It was basically, I got cheated on. It was humiliating. A lot of people knew, like, it was just not a good place to be in at the time, because I went crazy. Because that I'm not going to go in detail about the toxic relationship, because honestly, I'm healed from it. You know, I forgive the whole situation, because when I was in that relationship, I wasn't consistent in church at all. If anything, I sat there in tears, because what the pastor was saying, what my pastor was saying, convicted me so heavy that I should not be in the relationship that I am right now, because it's causing me to sin. And on top of that, that person is not for me. But I would not listen. I was being rebellious. And you don't listen to God and you continue in rebellion, it's just only going to get worse from there. And then after I left that relationship, I began to become more consistent in church and all that stuff. And then I was literally getting mentored by my friend's mom. She helped me a lot. Like, I literally would go over his house when he's not even there, just to go see his mom and talk to his mom and get the help that I need from his mom. And I also started getting close one-on-one mentorship from my pastora, which is his sister. And so that was really helpful. The things that you're probably holding on to and thinking that, oh, well, they can get better, or he or she can get better, like I can change them. God can only change them. And that's if they receive God in their hearts. Okay? Okay. Leaving my rebellious life and being more consistent with God, and, you know, aligning to what he wanted for me, guys, a lot of things changed. You guys remember that my friend that invited me to church and everything? Well, he's now my husband. Yeah. I serve in the young ladies ministry at my church, and my husband and I, we got anointed to be youth leaders at our church, which is a blessing. Like, what? That's insane. And I'm pregnant. I'm gonna give birth anytime now. So that's why I was huffing and puffing, barely breathing, because it's not easy. Guys, I don't know, but this look, I kind of don't like this makeup look. Let's change the lip. So this concludes the entire video. I'm glad you stayed and listened to what I had to say. That is why I love God. I feel him. I literally am always like surprised by his nature. I don't like crying in front of people, but I will always cry for the Lord. I don't care. If you know that you have been living in sin, and you know that there's that void in your heart, you need healing, you need something permanent, run to Jesus. Coming from someone that was in the world, tried everything, experienced a lot of things, I believe that he's the one I will see after this life. I pray that you guys receive Jesus as well. And yeah, hope you like this video. Bye.